Hello and welcome back to Cosmic Chats Part 2 with Nick Rado.
Hi, how's it going?
Nick is in the fast fire section. He will like you to subscribe, but I'm not going to have him talk about it because if you want to hear that, you can watch the first one because it will take you until Christmas. All right. First of all, I'd like to ask you, when you dream and you're flying, how do you fly?
I fly like breaststroke. Like where you just sort of like like it's like a water-based flying, not like a flapping wings flying. I'm sort of like like I'm breaststroking in the air. That's exactly how I fly. And I don't know what that means. It probably means some sort of something that's gone wrong in my past. But that's how I fly when I fly in my dreams.
Wow. Okay. So were you called any nicknames as a child that you can repeat on YouTube?
Flying breaststroke man. No, no.
Self-given?
Any nicknames of this child? No, none at all. None at all.
No, Nico. No,
No, no,
Nick.
well, because my name was short. Oh, yeah, I guess so. I think because my last name's actually Radovanovic, so it's Croatian, and a lot of different people would have nicknames like ran over a bitch. That was one. Caravan stuck in a ditch. That was another one. Ramalama Ding Dong.
Oh yeah, I
That was
could
another
ram.
one.
But then
And
again,
then
you had no
I
nicknames.
shortened
No
it.
nicknames. No nicknames.
No, no, no. I shortened it to Rado and thinking if everyone would get that right. And then in my later years, people would go Rado. The worst one I had was Rado. That was
Like a
not
didgeridoo, a
like
redo.
a
It's an
Rado.
instrument that you play, don't you
That's
know?
exactly right. Exactly right. So it wasn't Australia actually, so that's probably why they were saying it. But yeah, so those are the extent of my nicknames.
All right. Have you got any fun nicknames you've given people or nicknames you've given anyone in your business that you thought that's pretty smart?
Uh that I can share. We had a guy in our work who we nicknamed um Van Dam because he because he crashed the work van, and he then rang us up and said that he's crashed the van, and then our boss said damn. And so from then on in, and I don't even know why he did that. Another time as well that we had a rugby coach who didn't have a nickname, and he was the only one who didn't have a nickname or didn't have like a catchy name or something. His name was Nathan, and we called him, and then because he was standing on grass, everyone said, well, your nickname's Grass, not knowing that the connotations of that would have that nickname stuck with him. He worked in this high powered insurance job, and so whenever we'd call his high powered insurance job work, we would say, hey, is Grass there? And then they were like, sorry, Grass. And then they were like, oh, and then we'll go, oh, sorry, is Nathan there? And then they would go, yeah, he's there, but he's busy at the moment. Can we take a message? And then we'd have to say, hey, can you just tell Nathan, that he has to pick up the gear from Pete's house?
Oh,
And so we were like, this innocent nickname has all of a sudden like had caused huge problems at his high-powered insurance job. So that's probably the best / worst nickname that we've given somebody, or I've given somebody.
now, being a wordsmith, do
Mm-hmm.
you have a phrase that you like to say? And it doesn't have to be in English, and it doesn't have to be the meaning is what you're associating with. Is something that you really like to say. It just feels good in the
Yes.
mouth. I'm ready.
Don't get Yeah, okay. So the phrase is don't get bitter, get better. That is
Oh.
the phrasing that myself and my colleague, who we run Laugh Club New Zealand in New Zealand, and so that's our whole thing. So if anything happens, we just say that to each other: "Don't get bitter, get better." And so that just really helps with us just not getting caught up with stuff and just not complaining about stuff. And yeah, and that's it. And that's it. That's all we do. So that's the phrase that I really like, but it's also nice. It's got alliteration in it as well. So
I
a
like
little bit anyway.
alliteration as well. I do
Yeah.
like alliteration.
Mm.
Is there a food that you really wish that you liked, but you just don't?
Yeah, I don't wish that I like it. Brussels sprouts is probably one of those ones. I don't like it, and I don't wish to like it.
Has it become this thing that it's like a dish, like here for appetizers? They like almost burn Brussels sprouts as an appetizer. It's like, oh, Brussels sprouts. I'm like, Brussels sprouts. You just boil them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Do you know what, actually? I don't know if you have them in America, but Jaffa cakes.
I did in England.
Yeah. It's like an orange chocolate biscuit, but it's kind of like a softer biscuit. It's almost like I don't even know how you would describe it. It's not quite it's harder than a pastry, but it's not quite as a biscuit. But it's like chocolate and orange. And I really like when they're on offer, I'm like, yeah, I'll have one of them. And I eat them and I'm like, I really want to enjoy this, but this is not really for me. So that's what I'm going to go for. If you're in America, look up Jaffa cakes, Jaffa, I think it is, cakes. And they're not a cake. And this is the big question in England, right? Is it a cake or is it a biscuit? Because it's shaped as a biscuit, but
it's packaged like a biscuit.
It's packaged like a biscuit, but it's called a Jaffa cake. And so it is one of those kind of, it's one of those mysteries that will never get solved. But yeah, Google it right now and find out for yourself. What would you call it? I think it should be called the Jaffa biscuit, but I guess it's got, it's not. Yeah.
It doesn't have the crunch. It doesn't have the crunch of a biscuit.
Maybe that's why it doesn't qualify.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's soft, isn't it?
Yeah, like a cake.
But is that something you don't like?
It's something that I don't like, but I would like to enjoy. You just said
you didn't like it. Sorry, I got lost in the Jaffa cake imagery.
As soon as I said Jaffa cake, your mind went to your nostalgic brain, and you were like, "Yes, I remember Jaffa cake." And then you started having all these memories of being in England and being having a Jaffa cake with having a cup of tea. Yeah, on a cold winter's /summer's
it's
day.
Always cold. Whether it's like the Christmas, it took me 10 years to thaw out.
Yeah.
Next question.
Yes.
Where in the world have you not been to but you'd like to go?
Japan. I'd like to go to Japan. I've never been there, but I would like to go. The food I've just got, like, last 3 or 4 years, I've really tapped into Japanese food, and I just think it's amazing. And I really like, is it Shinto? Is that there's some sort of like a culture or religion, or it's not quite a religion. It's like a philosophy, maybe.
Oh, I thought you were saying
Chinese?
Bento. See,
Bento.
I'm on food. I'm not moved past the food at this point.
You've got Jaffa cake.
Jaffa cake in a bento box.
Yes. Yeah. Well, there we go. I think that's just called a lunchbox in England.
Maybe if there was a picture of a samurai on it, it would work.
Maybe. Then that's what you could use to cut the Jaffa cake.
Yes.
Find out once and for all if it is a cake or a biscuit. Japan. Love it. Love the idea of it, but never been. And that's one place I'd really like to go.
Well, there we are. We need to book Nick to do some gigs in Japan.
Yeah.
And set up a new comedy festival there. I actually have a friend who lives in Japan who does comedy.
Oh, wow.
And with that, if you want to hear more of Nick, we're going to pop in the description his latest 1 hour, which is called
It's called On Trend. It's on Spotify. You can buy it on iTunes if you really must, but it is also on Spotify. So depending on, I've never been very good at sales, but yeah, it's an amazing album. It was recorded this year, January 2021, when the whole world was locked down in COVID. New Zealand was one of the few countries to be able to do live gigs, and it was performed in front of a live studio audience. No masks, everyone was just normal, and yeah, it went really well. And it's on Sirius XM at the moment as well. It's on Laugh USA, and a very I don't even know how I feel about it. It's a channel called Raw Dog, which is
Isn't
yeah,
that a profile on Tinder?
I think so, and that's why it's because my stuff's all clean, so it might stand out like a sore thumb, which is another profile on Tinder.
On Tinder.
Well. So yeah, so if you listen on Sirius XM, you can listen there, but also on Trend on Spotify, or click on the link below.
Brilliant. Well, it's been fabulous to have Nick. Pop it in the comments how much you love him. I do. I adore him already. And we will see you at the next Cosmic Chat. Bye.
See you later. Thanks for having me.